Is the Independent Electoral Commission ready for this weekend's voter registration? Why is it important to produce an identity document when registering? Why should eligible voters update their addresses? And is the IEC still intending to appeal the postponement of the Tlokwe municipal by-elections? What time is it? It's question time. It's a very warm welcome to you. Welcome to Question Time. My name is Siphiwo Nzawumbi, once again standing in for Mpho Tsedu. Now, the Independent Electoral Commission has been in the news since the Constitutional Court ordered for the rerun of the 2013 Tlokwe by-elections. Recently, these by-elections, which were initially set for February 24th, were postponed. This, of course, comes after the Electoral Court discovered that more than 4,000 addresses were missing from the voters' roll. For its part, the IEC says it will find an urgent application in the Constitutional Court to appeal the postponement of the Tlokwe by-elections. Meanwhile, the electoral organization says it is all systems go for voter registration on Saturday and Sunday in preparation for the upcoming local government elections. Now, a reminder that we're coming live to you from our Auckland Park studios right in Johannesburg, so you can call us. The number is 089-110-4210, and of course, if you're calling abroad, it's 002789-110-4210, and just go and join us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is at QuestionTime24. Now, my guest in studio today is IEC Vice Chairperson, Mr. Terry Tselane. Mr. Tselane, thank you so much for joining us on Question Time, and welcome.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Now, there's been quite a lot of controversy surrounding the IEC recently. You have been making headlines. Can you just confirm to us, are you ready for these elections? Especially the weekend, are you ready for the registration weekend?
We are ready. We will have the elections within a constitutional stipulated period. That's why we're having this registration weekend, in order to allow those individuals who have not registered to register, but also we're giving opportunity to those people who have since moved to update their details. So this is a clear illustration that from our side as the Electoral Commission, we are ready to deliver the 2016 local government elections.
And also there have been quite a number of questions surrounding the administration of, the counting, and also administration staff from your side as far as, recording the number of voters, especially the registration weekend. Have you updated the system? Has this changed, especially being compared to previous years, 2013?
No, our system is actually one of the best in the whole world. I have just come from a conference where we were dealing with issues of compilation of the results and the transmission of the results to the National Results Center. And then every person wants to emulate what we are doing in South Africa. Because we've got one of the best systems, the most transparent system that we can ever find, where you can actually be able to see the results from the voting station. You can be able to compare the actual copy of the results from the voting station with the results that have been captured. This is one of the innovations that we introduced following the 2014 local government elections, and then we are satisfied that this system is one of the best systems that we have, and that's why the majority of people all over the world they want to emulate us.
Now, let's get into the nitty-gritties of the registration process. Why is it important that as a voter or an eligible voter, I produce to you an ID document and all these other documents that perhaps have been required? Is the system perhaps going to change or upgrade, especially the record system for the voters?
No. Nothing changes. Remember, we're moving from an understanding of what the Constitution requires us to do. Now, if you go to the Constitution says that in order for you to be able to participate in the electoral process, you must be a South African, you must be 18 years and older. So the reason why we want you to come with your ID number, or rather your ID, it is because we want to make that determination that you are indeed a South African and that you are eligible in terms of the Constitution.
There seems to be also a question of the readiness of citizens when it comes to these registrations, especially Saturday and Sunday. Another opinion is that citizens are perhaps not informed as to where they can go register, and there seems to be, a lack of excitement from these citizens. Let's go and hear from Bongani, perhaps, who's calling us from Gauteng, and hear if he's ready and excited for these elections. Bongani, welcome to Question Time this evening.
Yes, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I just to ask your guest in the studio. I'm in Denver, no Denver.
It's Mr. Terry Tselane.
Yes. Here in terms of the problem with the demarcation forum, they have a separated our what? into two. We are taking a hostel. Our hostel is separated in the Nikki for what 118 and another what is 165. So I wanted to find out if those people, before they work on those locations, did they consult with the people? Because here they just bring us the information that we are being scheduled to another ward without any consultation with the people from the hostel.
All right. Thank you so much, Mongani.
I want to know, because now on Friday, we have to go and register to another ward. Because now we are no longer at 160, 165. But now there was no consultation with the people who are staying in the hostels. Is this fair for people or what?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Bongani. At least to get the gist of your question. So what happens to voters like Bongani? Especially because, I mean, there was also a question of whether if one resides in a different location as to where they previously are registered, is there going to be a change in that?
I think I understood him to be saying what is going to be happening for people who've been affected by the demarcation process, and also whether we have actually sufficiently consulted people in demarcating wards and the municipalities. Now, and this is very important, the issue of the demarcation of wards as well as the municipalities does not fall within the realm of the Commission. So it is done by a completely different institution. It's called the Municipal Demarcation Board. So they do the demarcation, and after they have done the demarcation of the wards and the municipalities, they give us the data sets of those municipalities and those wards, and all we do as the Electoral Commission, we make sure that the wards are divided according to the voting districts. So the only area where we are responsible, that's when we are delimiting the wards according to the voting districts. So, but I would assume that the demarcation board would have consulted with people sufficiently, because it is a requirement in any case as part of their processes.
Now, let's talk about the much controversial Tlokwe municipal by-elections. It seems like you're still interested in appealing the decision by the Electoral Court. Why is this so important to you?
It is very, very important because, firstly, the voters' roll that we have was developed since 1998. Now, in 1998, when we started with the voters' roll, we had 18.5 million registered people. And subsequent to that, we managed to get, by 2003, we had almost 21 million people registered. Now, the legislation which introduces the addresses only came into being in 2003. So what it means is that you had 21 million people who had registered previously, whose addresses were not clear. Some of these people were using communal addresses, such as in villages, as well as in formal settlements. And now, following the judgment of the Constitutional Court, when we agree with the Constitutional Court that we're going to be doing things according to the way the Constitutional Court has interpreted them, and that is to get sufficient particularities of people in order for us to locate them within the right voting district. But now what happens to all these other people who have not updated their details? And I'm talking about a great number of people who have not updated their details, who don't come and give us their details, but they are on the voters' roll.
So what happens to them? Are they regarded as invalid then?
That's exactly clarification we seek from the Constitutional Court, to say, yes, we've got the voters' roll. Yes, we are getting sufficient particularities of individuals. But even as we do that, there are people who registered previously. But these people, unfortunately, do not have the voters' roll. Do not have addresses on the voters. Do we remove them? We can't just give them an address because they've not come. What do we do? And is this constitutional? Is it not? Are we not inadvertently beginning to introduce limitation of rights through an address? And it's the kind of the clarification that we seek from the Constitutional Court. But at the same time, we are continuing with Tlokwe. We have already developed the timetable, the election timetable, and we're proceeding accordingly.
All right. Well, that is Mr. Terry Tselane, the Vice Chancellor, the Vice Chairperson of the IEC, saying that the IEC is all systems go. What do you think? Are you ready for this weekend to go and register? Let us know. The number is 089-110-4210. And of course, you can go and tweet us. The Twitter handle is @QuestionTime24. After the break, we'll continue with our discussion. Stay with us.
we're searching for. The guy who steps up, way, way up. The queen of the pop and lock, and whatever this is. The party train conductor, all aboard. The answer is yes, you are that guy, and we salute you, party comrade. Join the movement online.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time right here on SABC News Channel 44. Remember that I said you can call us right in studio to be a part of our discussion. In studio, I'm joined by Mr. Terry Tselane, the IEC Vice Chairperson. Now, in studio, or rather on the line, I'm joined by Mbahari, who's calling us from Northwest. Mbahari, welcome to Question Time.
Afternoon, sir. How are you?
Well, thank you.
I'm all right. Mr. Tselane, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you, sir?
I'm all right. No, I've got two quick questions, ne? My first question is, I know maybe it's too early, just to say, when are you phasing out the manual system? Like Namibia has done it, Nigeria has done it. They are now doing electronic to avoid this kind of issues. My second question is about the students who are at the universities far from home. What mechanisms or what arrangements do we have so that, because some don't even have money to register, to go home and register and everything. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, Mbahari. You want to take on those questions?
Yeah, well, the issue of electronic voting is something that we're exploring.
Yes.
We've already done our top research, and we had also a consultative discussions with quite a number of international players. We had a conference in Cape Town. But I think one of the most important things that we need to bear in mind when we're dealing with issues of electronic voting is that issues of trust must have been dealt with. So it takes time to build trust. Because in a situation where you do not have paper trail and a person is just interacting with a machine, the interface is only between the voter and the machine. What happens when people are dissatisfied with the results? You can't go back and say you are going to be checking information pertaining to how the voters voted. So we may have to look at various elements of the electronic voting, but electronic voting is one of the issues that we are currently
So when can we expect this? Perhaps for the 2019 elections? Will it be ready?
I think it's too early.
All right. Well, let's go and hear from Itumeleng. Rather, let's first go and hear from Itumeleng, who's calling us from Pretoria. Itumeleng, welcome to Question Time.
Hello.
Yes, welcome, sir.
Yes, I want to ask the IEC personnel if these votes fair. Are they really fair? Because of what happened in Tlokwe, shows a very worrying picture about how elections are run. Because from what I've heard in the news is that the independent candidate went to IEC and told them that no, those elections were not conducted fairly, but the IEC did not want to listen to them until the court listened to them. And then the issue of address. I hear that the IEC is saying they are reminding voters that it is illegal to vote in an area where you don't reside, where you don't stay. So when they say people addresses are not important, how are they going to know that this person who registers in this area stays in this area? So those are the questions. And then I think we need electronic voting system, and
exactly.
I think
spoken about that.
The IEC, it's running away from that because of they won't be able to manipulate the system.
Thank you so much, Itumeleng. Why this controversy around the issue of addresses and registration of these voters?
There are three categories of people. Some of the people are living in informal settlements. There's no proper address in those areas. Some of the people are living in villages. They only have communal addresses. What do you do in those kind of cases? And is the communal address acceptable? Because the Constitutional Court said generic addresses are not allowed, and we should not actually be using generic addresses. So this is the category of people that is important. And now the third category, it's a person who is essentially living under a bridge. This person does not have an address, does not have This person is homeless, but at the same time he's a South African. He's got an ID and wants to determine his or her own destiny by participating in the elections, by voting for their own representatives. What are you going to be doing with that kind of a person? What kind of address are you going to give this person? You know, so, and I'm saying that does lack of an address nullify?
Just talking about addresses, and also it seems there is, you know, a lack of understanding just in general with voters. One would have expected that perhaps the IEC would have an open consultation process with the communities just in preparation, you know, to be these elections. Why is there perhaps, you know, if there was one, you know, why is there poor visibility of such consultation processes?
No, we do. It's just that, you know, the level of interest, particularly from the side of media when there are no elections, it's very, very low. So most of our events are not covered by media. But we have got quite a number of initiatives in our communities with particular stakeholders, and we continue with it. But there's an aspect I wanted to address in relation to Tlokwe. Because sometimes I think people don't understand exactly what the problem was in Tlokwe.
Yes.
In Tlokwe, we are found wanting by the Constitutional Court in relation to 3 areas. One was that we had submitted voters' roll late to the political parties and independent candidates. And secondly, that the voters' roll that we submitted to the political parties and candidates did not have addresses. And the last area was that we had allowed people who were not ordinarily resident in the areas where the by-elections were taking place to register and to vote in those areas. Now, those are the areas where we are found wanting by the Electoral Court.
All right.
The Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court did not say that we are rigging the elections. They said these are the 3 important areas which we find you. There
was also a confusion, though, that perhaps you're appealing, or rather you're contesting the re-election of the Tlokwe by-elections.
No. We're not contesting that. We are proceeding with the by-elections in Tlokwe. We're getting sufficient particularities of people as ordered by the Constitutional Court. So we're going to find whatever information that we can find that will be able to assist us to put people or to locate people within the right voting district.
There was initially the 24th of February that was set aside for these elections, and then you were told to postpone them for 6 weeks. Can we expect them to eventually happen after these 6 weeks?
From our side, as the Electoral Commission, we are ready. We are putting every little thing in place to make sure that we've got the by-elections in Tlokwe. Right. The people of Tlokwe have been waiting for this by-elections for a long, long time. And we can't wait any longer. It is important that we get done with this so that we can begin to focus on our preparation for 2016 local government elections.
All right. You can call us right here on Question Time. The number is 089 110 4210. And right now we've got a caller who's calling us from KZN. Welcome to Question Time.
Good afternoon, guys.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. Yes, I'm calling from Govt. My name is Zet Mantanga.
Hi, Zet.
I wanted to know, I'm living in Govt. I'm working in Govt. And I last voted here in Govt. I mean, I'm working in Govt, but I've got my house in East London, you know. Now, what's going to be happening this coming weekend? I won't be in Govt, I'll be in East London. What's going to be happening when I go register for voting in East London? Will there be any issues about me now being in East London, registering in East London?
All right, Mr. Salan, you want to take on that?
He will vote because he's already registered in any case in Govt.
All right.
So he will vote in Govt. He doesn't have to change his arrangements because, as we always say, you've got to register and vote where you are ordinarily resident. So a person who's already registered, it's okay. He will still have an opportunity to vote where he has registered. Yeah.
All right, let's go and hear what people on Twitter have to say. Remember that you can tweet us right in the studio. The Twitter handle is at Question Time 24, and right now we've got Rangwane Marumo, who says, at Question Time 24, I'm already registered. I have an issue with why I'm moved away from why my voting station, which is a walk away. And we've got a second one, Samgelo, who says, since people don't go there in droves, I think 2 days is enough, plus it's on the weekend. Do I have the last one? Okay. We've got the rocks, and then he says, already Saturday is out because we are attending the Soweto Derby at FNB Stadium, so 2 days is not enough. I think it's just a matter of priorities right there. Everybody wants to attend. But just moving forward, just looking at some of these issues.
I think there's a question that was
yes, the first
raised,
one, the first question about moving people,
I think it's important.
The allocations and whatnot.
This is the most important aspect about registration.
Yes.
We register people according to voting district.
Yeah.
So we will have a voting station for a voting district.
So what happens to their vote specifically?
The fact that you've got a registration station that is next to you does not necessarily mean you are located within that voting district. That could be a completely different voting district. So it would be wrong for you to register in an area that you are not a resident. You are resident in a voting district.
Yeah.
So it is important that people do not actually shop for the nearest voting stations. When they get to a registration station, they've got to check, and our officials will check in the maps as to whether these people are actually located within the right voting district. If your address is outside that voting district, our officials will advise you that even if there's a voting station near you, it does not necessarily mean that that's where you should be going. You've got to go to a station that you are supposed to belong to.
And to accommodate special cases, perhaps, is the Department of Home Affairs going to be open 24/7 throughout the weekend?
We've got a partnership with the Department of Home Affairs. They have indicated to us that they're going to be opening as well from 8 to 5, and they will also be having mobile units in certain areas.
All right.
Regrettably, I don't have the details of their mobile units.
All right. Quickly, just before we round up our discussion, let's go and hear from a caller from Limpopo, and it's Les who's calling us from Limpopo. Les, welcome to Question Time.
Yes, how are you, sir?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to ask Terry. I'm very much concerned about the area like Lephalale.
Yes.
I'm talking about the addresses. In Lephalale, for you to get a job in Lephalale, you have to register at Lephalale, even though you are not residing at Lephalale. How do they address that kind of issue?
How does Les address that issue?
He says he stays in Lephalale, but he does not work in Lephalale.
Yes.
So he's got different places.
He's got different places.
I think he's got to make a determination in terms of where he will be on the date of the elections. And then he can register either where he works or alternatively where he resides. And I'm saying this thing because, in terms of the way the legislation is structured, a place of ordinary residence is defined in legislation as a home or a place to which you return to after a place of temporary absence.
All right.
So, a person can either use their work address or alternatively their home address as a place of ordinary residence.
There's been a question also of fair and free elections, are being disputed around IEC, and you also managing to ensure that people, or rather citizens, are having free and fair elections. Can you guarantee us that these will be free and fair elections?
We will have free and fair elections. And then we will deliver these elections within constitutional stipulated period.
All right. Well, that was Mr. Terry Tselane, the Vice Chairperson of the IEC, right here in studio on Question Time. You heard him. He was saying their systems are all set and ready just for you to go and vote. Make sure that you go and register for voting this Saturday and Sunday. Well, that was Question Time with me, Siphiwo Nzawumbi. A big thank you to you and to our guests and also from the team. Catch Question Time again tomorrow, same time, same place. Till then, it's goodbye.